You say in the book, I kept my hair straight throughout the White House years so it would not be a distraction or a talking point. I knew there was absolutely no way that the first black first lady could show up in braids. Was that a hard choice for you?
You know, it wasn't hard because the job was more important than the statement.
Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. Today I am diving into something so many people have strong opinion about, and that is Michelle Obama and her natural hair. For context, Michelle Obama has attended several interviews and events, and she has been asked the same question over and over again as to why she never wore her natural hair in its natural state, or even in braids or any other African hairstyle while she was still the first lady. There has been like a lot of discussion online as to why she made that choice. Some people say she should have worn her natural hair no matter what, as a symbol of pride and representation. Others, on the other hand, understood why she didn't because the pressure was intense. So in today's video, I want to explore both perspectives in a balanced way so we can understand her choices without being judgmental. But before then, I'm going to insert a clip of one of the interviews she had so you can hear for yourself what she said before we get into the nitty-gritty of this video, okay?
You say in the book, I kept my hair straight throughout the White House years so it would not be a distraction or a talking point. I knew there was absolutely no way that the first black first lady could show up in braids. Was that a hard choice for you?
You know, it wasn't hard because the job was more important than the statement.
Right.
I wanted to make sure that my work spoke before my clothes or the way I showed up in the world, although I knew that the clothes sent a message.
Yes.
I think it was important that at some point as a public figure, I wore my hair natural and in braids because I do believe strongly that all women, we should have the choice about how we wear our hair, what we look like, and it should not be subject to commentary, particularly by men who know nothing about what goes on. And how black women in particular wear their hair is their business. It is not a statement of some kind of lack of professionalism.
No.
We all come to this world in a different way. And so supporting the young women who have really pushed for that natural hair movement, the Crown Act, which had to be passed to say that how a woman wears their hair cannot be used to discriminate against them. There's just a lot of education that needed to happen, and I didn't really have the time to be the lead on that education during the 8 years. We needed to get health care passed. I wanted to focus the attention on our military families, on getting our kids healthy. And so it didn't feel like a personal sacrifice because I understood the assignment. But now that I'm out, part of that freedom that you talked about of being 60 is that I can wear my hair.
You get to be yourself.
Absolutely.
So the case for why she should have worn her natural hair has to do with identity and representation, because Mitchell being the first black first lady means she had the platform to normalize natural hair. Wearing her natural hair could have sent a powerful message about black beauty standard. Imagine a young girl or a young lady seeing the first lady wearing her natural hair, even in its natural state, or in braids or any other African hairstyle. It would definitely challenge centuries of bias and restrictive beauty standard. Why? Because representation matters. And this is something a lot of women around the globe are actually seeking for, representation. So Mitchell had that opportunity to represent black women globally. And at the end of the day, her hair is her hair, regardless of her position or public perception. And she even choosing to wear her natural hair is an act of self-expression and a refusal to let societal expectations dictate her choices. That is if she has chosen to wear her natural hair, but she didn't. That is why a lot of people felt she misused an opportunity, which I kind of agree that she misused an opportunity, because she not wearing her natural hair made her reinforce the idea that black hair needs to conform to mainstream beauty standard, which is the Eurocentric beauty standard, for it to be acceptable either in professional or even public spaces. So the case for why it's understandable why she didn't wear her natural hair has to do with her being judged. because she being the first black lady meant that every details of her life is being magnified, from her hair to her clothing to her gesture. Every single damn thing is being judged, and she just wasn't herself because she was representing a nation. So every choices she made could either be misinterpreted or politicized, and that is something she was avoiding, because she even said she didn't wear her hair in braids or any other African hairstyle because she didn't want her natural hair or her hair to be a topic of conversation. Because imagine she trying to support the president for something really important, and everyone are fixated on her hair. When she's talking about something really important, either the newspaper or the news on TV, the headline would be with her bangs or with her hair, something like that. So it's kind of exhausting having to deal with things like that.
Wearing braids was a thing for people.
I didn't wear braids in the White House.
After,
but
no?
even now, oh, well.
You returned, right? Now who cares?
Yeah,
Right.
now,
But why did you not?
Well, because it was one of those things like, I remember the second term when I cut bangs. That was every story. I mean, I couldn't even, I'm talking about nutrition, and the article leads with "but her bangs."
Yeah.
You know, so you realize, all right, it's a trade-off.
Distraction.
Do I want, while I understand it, do I want that distraction? And when do I want the distraction? It's a strategic move. And, you know, and also to be honest, it's like we were the first. And I was like, first of all, they gotta get used to us.
Yeah,
that's right.
Now I could show up with some braids, and now that's all we're talking about. I mean, that's when when we did a fist bump with each other, they turned that into a terrorist act, right?
That
It's
was
just like,
insane.
who needs the hassle? Let me just straighten my hair and get healthcare.
Did you resent that at all? Was there any resentment in that?
Was your hair damaged?
No, because I
Solid question. That's a good question.
I wore weaves, extensions. I had protective styles because you get your hair done every day.
Right.
And sometimes twice a day if you're out jumping jacks in the rain. I mean, the things that I did, it's like, nope, put some extensions in, or I did all kinds of things. I just kept it. Whatever I mimicked what my hair was, right? But no, there was no way. I would not have any hair on my head if I straightened it as much as I had to straighten it. So I did a little bit of everything. Put a ponytail if I was, you know, but it was all a part of the conversation as a woman, and in the line, it mattered how high my heel was. You know, we had to think about things differently than Barack, you know. And they'd be staffing him. All a man has to do would be like, you taking your tie off? It's casual.
Or the brown. Don't wear brown. Don't wear the brown suit.
That's what I'm saying. They tripped out because he wore a tan suit.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, okay, we're in this place.
Right.
You know, we have to prioritize. So I can't say that I resented it. I didn't resent it, but I used it. I understood what I was doing with it.
I kind of understand the angle she's coming from. I really understand, and that can be really exhausting for her, trying to pass something really important, and people are not focusing on the message. Instead, they're focusing on either her clothing or her hair, and that is something she tried to avoid. All this only shows how much black women's natural hair has been policed, ridiculed, and mischaracterized. And in the case of Michelle Obama, she not wearing her natural hair or optioning for straightened hairstyle only shows she was trying to navigate a world where it was kind of safe and neutral for her to wear a certain kind of hairstyle in public or in a professional setting where she doesn't have to deal with a lot of backlash. And that is why she had to option for wearing straightened hairstyle. That was basically a protective mechanism for her. Not like she was rejecting her hair. She didn't in any way reject her hair, but she was just trying to manage how the public engaged with her identity, which I can completely understand, because being the first black first lady in such a high profile position meant that she has to constantly or consistently balance her personal identity with external expectation. So Mitchell was dealing with complexity of choice. Yeah, she was dealing with complexity of choice because one, she should have worn her natural hair to normalize natural hair and to represent black women globally. On the other hand, because of the pressure and the scrutiny from people, she just chose not to wear anything related to black hairstyles or her natural hair just to avoid the spotlight or to avoid any conversation around her hair. But at the end of the day, if you look at it from a very deep angle or perspective on why she avoided wearing her natural hair, it only points back to one thing, which is internalized trauma or societal conditioning, because she avoiding to wear her natural hair reflects the internalized societal trauma, the fear of her being judged, the fear of her being misunderstood, the fear of rejection, because she avoided wearing her natural hair so that people do not talk about her hair. This is something a lot of black women are facing on a daily basis. That is why representation is really, really important. But now after White House, she has been seen wearing her natural hair in its natural state. She has been seen on braids and any other African hairstyle. This is she now basically claiming her freedom back. And at the same time, showing us that it is possible to prioritize identity once there is no pressure or once the pressure is reduced. And as a black lady and a content creator who talks about hair, who deals with hair, I understand this tension because constantly we are being told to take pride in our hair, to show up authentically. We want to be respected and not judged. So I really understand Michelle Obama because Michelle Obama's journey reflected that tension perfectly. But it doesn't diminish the impact she had or she's still having, if that makes sense. And at the end of the day, wearing your hair is personal because nobody would walk up to you to spank you, put a gun to your head and tell you you have to wear your natural hair. Nobody's going to do that. Like, hello, nobody has the time for that. But sometimes circumstances can make it complicated, which I kind of understand in Michelle Obama's case because it wasn't really easy for her being in such a high profile space. You all know that it's not really easy. So I would not 100% blame her, but I understand. Yeah, I understand her plight. And Michelle has made it obvious that representation, freedom, and pressure can exist at the same time. So, irrespective of whatever the situation is, your hair is your hair. So, whether you're wearing your natural hair in its natural state, or in braids, or in any other protective style, your hair should be a source of pride and not of judgment. So, let me know what do you think about this whole conversation. Do you think that Michelle Obama should have worn her natural hair? Or do you understand why she didn't? Because there is a lot of hot takes regarding this online. And I've kind of been reading a lot of comments that are kind of, let me know, let me hear from you. Okay. So let me hear from you. What do you think about this whole conversation? Do you think Michelle should have worn her natural hair in the White House, or do you understand why she didn't? Let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please kindly give this video a very big thumbs up. If you got this far and you haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. Kindly hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell so you can be notified anytime I get to publish a new video on my channel. On this note, see you in my next video. Bye.